Next on deck would be the presentation from the Santa Clara Valley Water District. We have Ken Jackson and Rachel Gibson. Welcome.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for inviting us here today. My name is Ken Jackson, and I work for the Santa Clara Valley Water District in the Office of Government Relations. I'm delighted to be here to talk to you tonight about who we are, what we do, and how we do it. And I hope that this information is useful to all of you. Since there's a large amount of information for things for your community, I ask that you grab a packet that you here on the table before you leave for all the phone numbers and contact information. I'm not sure if most of you have heard of us, but for those who haven't, the Santa Clara Valley Water District is a wholesaler for all the water in the Santa Clara Valley. We have a three-pronged mission: providing clean, reliable water, providing flood protection, and being stewards of the environment. We serve the entire county of Santa Clara, and our boundaries are the same as the county lines. This includes nearly 2 million residents and commuters, 15 cities, unincorporated areas, almost 5,000 well owners, and 13 local retailers. There we go. Now I'd like to talk briefly about the water supply side of the Water District's business. We get our water from a variety of sources. 30% is locally sourced and stored in our reservoirs and ground aquifers. 55% is imported from the Sierra Nevada mountains, 40% of that through the Delta, and 15% from the Hetch Hetchy. 5% is recycled, 10% is through conservation, despite a 25% population increase since 1990. Also, we're the only agency with state and federal water contracts. This helps us diversify our water portfolio, which helps during a time of a drought like we currently are experiencing. One of the district's most exciting facilities is the Silicon Valley Advanced Water Treatment Plant. This plant, which uses advanced technologies to purify recycled water to an extremely high standard, is the largest of its kind in Northern California and produces up to 8 million gallons of near distilled quality water a day. We're working to double our use of the recycled and purified water from 5 to 10% by 2022. And the board recently approved several new projects to expedite the development of purified water that could produce an additional 45,000 acre-feet of new water. That's enough water to supply 450,000 people for a year. In addition, this purified water can help us guard against subsidence and help ensure drought-proof, locally controlled, reliable water supply over the long term. If you're interested in a tour of this facility, feel free to contact me at the end of the meeting and I'll set one up for you. Working. Any other question? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I just said, wow, that's a powerful picture.
Yes,
Would you like for us to hold our questions until after your presentation?
if you'd like to ask during, that's fine as well.
The water treatment plant, is that the plant where the mayor was standing and it was basically sewer water that had been recycled? Is that the same water?
Yes, sir, it is.
Oh, okay.
So that the water from the what is that plant? What is
The regional wastewater facility.
Regional wastewater facility. Thank you, Rachel. There was water that they couldn't put through their system, and some of it was going back into the bay after it had been cleaned, obviously. So we are taking that water, it's piped across the street to our plant, and we're able to process it to the levels of potable drinking water. Now, we don't put it back in the system like that, obviously. We're waiting on some state allowances to be able to do that, like the folks in Orange County, but we are able to get it to drinkable.
I think that's an important point too, to note that it's the water that we're getting from the regional wastewater facility is not raw sewage water at all. It's already gone through a tertiary treatment process at the wastewater facility before we get it, and then we essentially make it drinkable.
Does that answer? Anyone else?
Where's it going right now?
It's going out into the the purple pipes out in the field.
Okay.
It's not going to the perk ponds
No,
yet.
the water that we produce isn't going into the perk ponds yet. That's what we ultimately want to do. That's called the indirect potable reuse, where you recharge the groundwater aquifer. That's what we're going to ultimately do in the future, but it's not doing it yet. Right now, all we're allowed to do is combine it with existing purple pipe recycled water.
Are people comfortable with the idea? I just think the idea of it is, is that a marketing thing of yours to get people to get beyond the thought of that? I thought that was a really great shot of the three mayors standing up, drinking it was, hey, this is drinkable.
It's very
And
powerful.
I could understand, maybe doing the environment and doing the lawns and the things like that, but I think you have a long way to go to convince people that it's okay to drink.
Well, I think I could agree with that, but I think, also if you look at Orange County and the things they've done with their recycled water program, it could ease some fears. And I think with, the drought is not going away anytime soon.
No.
We really need to look at some of our other options to ensure we have water. Anyone else? Yes.
Can I just make a comment to that?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I do agree that we have to look at all options, but I also think some of the options need to be everybody sharing the pain and not having that lush lawn, including the people on in the East Bay. They publish names. I think we should start publishing names. And, who's using how much when it's an absolute, when it's way over the top as far as using is concerned. I mean, everybody should, in my opinion, everybody should share in brown lawns before we start drinking wastewater. I don't know, maybe it's just me. So, thank you for listening.
No worries. Mary, do you have anything? Okay. I'm sorry. All right, as we move forward. Working on developing new water sources is very important to the district, and this picture sums it up. This is the worst drought on record in California, and despite the expected heavy rains this winter, we will still be in a drought after the rain stops. That's why our board has extended the call for 30% conservation through June of 2016. It will likely take several years of average to above average rainfall to recover from this drought. One of the best ways to help cope with the drought is by conserving water in your home, and we can help you with that. Sign up today for a free WaterWise house call. Sign up today for a free WaterWise house call, and they're available to all Santa Clara County residents. Trained water surveyors will come to your home or your apartment complex, will review your water use, install low-flow shower heads and aerators if needed, and they will suggest water-efficient improvements, including an annual irrigation schedule for your landscape. The water surveyors will also program your automatic irrigation system for you free of charge, because those things can be a pain. House calls are available weekdays and Saturdays during daylight hours for all residents. If you're interested, contact the number in the packet. In the packets back over there.
You guys have a person who fixes toilet tanks?
Who fixes toilet tanks?
Yeah, that's what you need to look into. Yeah.
They can come by my house too.
Yeah, that's see. Some people look into suggestion boxes.
We also offer some valuable rebates to help you save water. The district provides a gray water laundry to landscape rebate of $200 per home for connecting the clothes washer to a gray water irrigation system that can water your front or back landscaping. This saves 14,000 gallons of water per year. For more information, contact Justin Burks, and his information is also in the pack.
What's the infrastructure cost to the homeowner?
Rachel, do you know that?
For the gray water line,
Yes.
it's actually, I haven't done it myself, but I'm given to understand from our staff people that if you're a handy person, you can do it yourself for under $100.
But it's not a service your department provides.
No.
And you need to already have an irrigation system set up wherever you're piping it to?
Not necessarily. Depending on what you've got going on out in your backyard or your front yard, depending on where you want to put it. Most people put it in the backyard because their washers are closer to it. All you have to do is when you run the pipe out, you have to bury it under a couple feet of rock so the pipe from the water pressure doesn't, it's usually a plastic line, so it doesn't come up and become unearthed. But generally speaking, they just want it buried somewhere so that it does subsurface irrigation, so it waters kind of everything in the general vicinity of where the line's buried.
Any more questions?
Yes.
Yes.
When are you gonna start offering rebates for rain barrels?
We are looking into that right now. We get asked that question a lot, so do our rebate folks. And we are looking at actually kind of phasing out some of our ones that aren't getting used very much and looking into doing exactly that. I'm hoping maybe sometime in the next 12 months. Don't quote me on that, but I know they're actively looking at that.
When they find out, I'll let you know.
Yes.
We also offer up to $150 for a combined rebate on qualified washing machines. The model must be included on the Energy Star Most Efficient Qualifying Products list, which is available on the district's website. We also offer many free water conservation items, including low-flow shower heads, aerators, spray nozzles, shower timers, and yard signs. If you're interested in receiving free water conservation devices, call the water conservation hotline, and that number is in the packet as well. Yes.
What are the signs? You said signs?
Yeah, so we have, you've probably seen them, brown is the new green,
Yeah.
things of that nature.
I have one in front, I had one in front of my house. It pissed the neighbors off too.
Did it? Did it with the green lush line you were talking about? That's not this way, that's here.
I'm gonna talk to Raul about that
Yeah.
later.
Yes.
How do you promote these programs and those signs and stuff like that? How would, you know, how do you?
How do we promote it? Well, one way, we're gonna ask you to take this information back to your neighborhoods and spread it throughout, via social media and things like that. Also, Rachel, you may wanna step in and answer some of this. I know we have a communications department, and I don't know what level they go to get it out to the community.
Yeah, we have a pretty robust communications campaign. In fact, we have to tweak it each season because obviously right now it's winter, El Nino is upon us, so the drought messaging is a little bit different. But I know they work with all the cities and the county, and in fact, we actually just worked with the county the last couple of years, 2 years running, to get drought inserts put inside every single property tax bill. So that's just an example of one way. We also work with all the council offices and their policy assistants to make sure that it's on the council offices' web pages, their next door accounts, to really get the messages blasted out as often as possible. And then of course, part of it is communicating with folks like you so that you guys can take these messages back to your own communities and help us get that word out. We host a variety of booths and events at different community festivals and community events throughout the county. It's pretty heavily concentrated in San Jose, of course, it's where the population is, but we do it all over the county to try to help get those messages.
And lastly, is it in multiple languages?
Yes, yes. I know it's in Spanish, Vietnamese, Chinese, and I think we even have a few in Tagalog.
And this is the print and the online materials that you have?
I don't know about the online. I'll check it and let you guys know. I'll get back to you.
But definitely the print.
Yeah, definitely print.
Thanks.
Any more questions?
No.
Here's a fact I'd like to share before we move on. Small actions can add up to a huge water savings. If everyone saves 20 gallons a day, we'd save more than 13 billion gallons a year of water in Santa Clara alone. So please help us get the word out so we can do our part. We also offer water conservation rebates for businesses, including free high-efficiency toilets and urinals, free pre-rinse sprayers and aerators, and free literature and water conservation signage. For more information about these programs and to sign up, call Kieran Coppett in our Water Conservation Division. And like I said, on everything, numbers in the packets. We also have a robust education program to spread the message of water conservation to the next generation. We offer class presentations from preschool through college where district staff will come to the school and conduct hands-on experiments, provide conservation tips, and talk about water awareness activities, flood control information, and careers in the water industry. To schedule a classroom visit, please follow the directions that are in our packet. There we go. We've established several ways you can get more information about the drought and water saving tips, and to help you provide us information about water waste activity that you see in your community. You can call our hotline, email our drought address, or submit something using our app or through our website at valleywater.org. In addition, the district has water waste inspectors who follow up on water waste complaints and raise awareness and provide educational information to residents and business owners. We have found this to be effective in getting people to rectify instances of water waste. The district does not issue citations, but will provide information about incidents of water waste to the local water provider who has the authority to enforce their own local water use ordinances. So this question comes up often. But won't El Nino cure the drought? And the short answer is no. Even with an El Nino, there's no guarantee that we'll get the needed rain and snow in Northern California, where most of our state's water supply originates. Additionally, if we do have a strong event, rain and snow would have to exceed 150% of normal over a whole year to refill our state's empty dams. Worse, it takes years for groundwater basins to refill. It's important to remember our current drought was separated from our last drought by only 2 years. With the reality of global warming, larger and more frequent droughts will likely be our new reality. That's why it is so critical that our communities do everything they can to conserve water. So I urge you all to provide this information to your neighborhoods. I mentioned that the second prong of our mission is to provide flood protection countywide. Part of protecting our communities from flood involves winter prep activities, including maintenance on our streams and levees, removing sediment from the creek beds, clearing out downed trees and other debris, and maintaining creekside vegetation. To date, the district has invested more than $1 billion in efforts to protect against flooding countywide. To report street flooding, blocked storm drains, and other flooding issues, we provided the necessary information in the packet.
Okay.
Yes?
I have a question on the last slide. Coyote Creek, this is one of my personal things that you kind of notice is, it is filthy, especially around here. You've got Santa Clara Street, Williams, San Antonio. It's an area that I'm well familiar with because it's my immediate neighborhood. I'm sure it goes more than that. We've got a multitude of problems there where trash in the creek, vegetation in the creek, downed trees, homeless encampments, people living under the creek, graffiti under the bridges. I've called numerous times, I've got case numbers on it. I've had people call me and say, real. The community's going to go out there and do a cleanup thing. I know it's a liability thing, the community and kids and all that can only go so far. We really need something a lot more industrial to clean that creek out and get rid of that stuff. I got a case number, if it's only it was that the homeless encampments were going to be moved. That didn't happen. I know there was death in my neighborhood due to that very fact. In that homeless encampment, creek hasn't been cleaned. So when I followed the system, and I wrote the city, I wrote the county, took months, I got the emails. So what are you guys doing? I don't mean you personally.
Thank you.
You don't have to. I'm venting.
Yeah, that's fine.
I admit it.
I'm here to take the vent.
But I mean, this has been going, I've been working this since the summer, since like July. And it's not new, even then, it's just like July is like when I had it up to here, it actually got involved.
We also know that Barry Swenson owns part of that.
Yes, is that actually confirmed? Is that actually confirmed?
He owns Taco Bell near San Antonio.
Yeah, property.
So then why isn't code enforcement going on? So again, this is the thing, the county does this, the city does that, PGA does something else. I'm venting again, I realize, but.
You're doing the right thing by being here and shedding some light on it. And when you brought it to my attention and the neighborhood's attention, we now know that this is happening. The death, for instance. I had no
It's not
clue.
the only one.
Right. No clue that that had happened, and thank you very much for bringing that up. So it really takes the power of the citizens, the residents, to make it known. If we know it should be a code enforcement complaint, bring it to code enforcement. Bring it to the councilman's attention so we can really get involved and try to make a difference in that area because it is a neglected area. You're right. And safety is a big issue with the homeless living down there. So we really need to work a lot of multiple angles. It's not just code enforcement. It's not just the Valley Water District or just the police angle on it. It's really about working every single resource that you can to get some attention.
And I buy into that. I guess my frustration is everybody's working for these organizations. I mean, how come everybody's not talking to each other?
And a lot of times they don't. And if we feel that they're not communicating with each other, these departments, these agencies, we should bring this up again. We just come back full circle. And it can be stressful, it can be irritating at times, but you really have to have that resiliency to hang in there and make a difference.
Advocate.
So here's my concern, and I think that you're right, there are systems in place, but it is exhausting. And we work full-time, or we are, watching our grandkids, or we are caring for our elder parents, or. And so, something that, and since the council member is here, I'd like to just say is, I also think that the city needs to look at, and maybe the county, its processes. Things need to change, society changes, problems change, processes need to change. Code enforcement is broken. It is broken. And so, I wanted to comment on that because I think that there's opportunities that we can do to take a look at, okay, what is the process that we're following and did it work? And if not, why not? Okay, then what can we do about it? And maybe work that angle too, since we're working on things.
It's about teamwork.
Ken? I'm sorry, go ahead, Mary.
Thank you. Could the water district convene a strategic partnership meeting to bring together all of the affected and involved people and address all of the creeks, and what's happening with them, and come up with, bring the neighborhood folks that are doing it, bring the leaders of the Clean Your Creeks, bring the code enforcement, bring the water district, bring the owners of the creek. I didn't know Barry Swenson owned part of the creek. Bring all of those people together for a half day, one day. Let's put together an action plan and address this because we're losing lives, and once, the rains stop, what is going to prevent the homeless from going back to the creeks again?
And then I guess the other thing too that was frustrating was part of the conversation I had with the water district. It's like, oh yeah, clean creeks and let's build paths and let's build trails. Well, who the hell wants to run a trail with all this crap out there? And who does own? And part of the frustration I ran into was the city does this, the homeowner does that, Barry Swenson or whoever. That's his easement. Well, then code enforcement should get involved. That doesn't happen. The city can't clean the creek, or the water district doesn't clean the creek because God knows why. I still don't understand that one. I mean, I'm thinking, put a guy in a hazmat suit, a canoe, and a crane out there, and they're done,
We wish we could do that. I'm not kidding.
So what's the problem? That's my frustration. What is the problem?
Yeah.
Is it the homeowner? Is it the access? Is it the city? What is the problem?
So first of all, to Mary's point, or Mary's question, yes, we actually have a watersheds division that deals, we have one or two people actually on staff. All they do all day long is respond to homeless encampment complaints. We've got a whole other set of people that respond to trash in creeks and, just garbage littering along. There are 800 miles of stream in Santa Clara County. We own 275 of them. We do not own every single mile of creek, which is very unfortunate for a variety of reasons. We would love nothing more than to get into every single, stretch of creek and make sure that no homeless are encamping there, that it's clean and safe for the residents that live in the area, that it's kept free of debris and blockages and garbage for all the, critters and wildlife that happens to live in all the riparian area alongside all of these rivers and creeks. But it's just not possible because we just don't have the property ownership. We can only access those properties along the creek that we own, or unless we have property owner access.
But I'm talking about a multi-jurisdictional gathering.
Get the
Do your homework ahead
get the
of
county,
time.
get us,
Find some money, you know, one of the foundations, well, the Knight Foundation is doing some amazing
Yeah.
things. I mean, get together, really identify what the problems are from the homeowners, from the cities, from the whatever, you know, and come together and, you know, beat out some solutions or something.
We're working on trying to get that effort off the ground right now, because it has only gotten worse. In fact, it's only gotten worse since the drought has been here, because since the rivers have been dry, unfortunately with home prices also going through the roof at the same time, we have more homeless than ever living in our creeks and along our rivers. And you know, one of the big issues we're grappling with right now is it's pouring apparently down South San Jose. It hasn't quite hit here yet, but with these El Nino rains, if we get like what we got in 1998, we very well could have some people stranded in the middle of Guadalupe again, like we had back then. We could have somebody drown, and that is not what we want. We want what you want, and believe me, we've got some folks on staff that are very passionate about this. We've been in partnership with all the cities, not just San Jose, but all 15 cities, or at least the cities, you know, who have major riverways going through them, to make sure that we're partnering with all their homeless people, all the police departments, all the social service agencies at the county, to make sure that, you know, when we, for instance, with homeless encampments, when we go in and we find a big one or even a small one, we've got everybody lined up so that when we clean them out, we can hopefully get those folks into housing, get them the services they need, so that they don't then come back and ruin camp, which is one of our biggest problems. In fact, the city of San Jose obviously has been exploring some innovative ideas recently. We've been a partner in that discussion, and we're talking about, in fact, at the state level, the state legislature, the state assembly, and state senate, there are dozens of bills going through the state right now that speak to homeless. A variety of issues, whether it's trying to get them into transitional housing, trying to get them some kind of, you know, assisted services. This problem has become so big and so prevalent statewide. That's why these state bills are now coming up too. We're also following all that legislation, because there is a single dime that we can get out of any of that state legislation. We'll apply for it and we will aggressively pursue it. We're really committed to trying to work with all of our partners on this. It's one of our biggest issues, and we work very closely with the city on it.
We have one more question, Bobby.
One of my colleagues had mentioned change, and for those of us that have lived in this valley long enough to remember when gas was $1.35 a gallon, it's been a long time since we've had to deal with issues of floods like this. I've relocated recently 2 years from up in Sonoma, and there are days when we were getting 2 and 3 inches of rain, to where it would cloud up down here and 3 drops of rain would fall. And I think this has happened recently. So climate change is something that we really have to deal with. There has been a change in the what's happening with reference to storms that come through the Bay Area. I think a consideration has been, and what you said, Ken, earlier, is a consideration for us to really look at conservation. Is your department the one that supplies rebates for people pulling out their lawns and that like, or is that a different district?
Our city forest, the lawn busters.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
I'm sorry, what were you, is that?
No, we do have a department that deals with that.
Okay.
With the rebates, they go for it was $2 a square foot for your yard. And those funds, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rachel, those funds have been exhausted. It was such a popular program. We spent, it was well over $20 million on replacing folks, helping folks replace their yards. Now, what they have done, not to cut you off, I apologize. What they have done is they're bringing this back. We just don't know what that dollar amount's going to be for the rebate for FY17, which for us starts July 1.
I think this is going to be a way of living. I think the green, expansive lawns are something passe that we'll tell grandkids about. And I think that
we laugh, but I think you're right.
I think that in the instance here of drought-tolerant plants and pulling out lawns, etc., in the underserved neighborhood that I live in, is that people cannot afford to pull out lawns and put in other aesthetic-looking things in their place. They're quite costly. The cost of infrastructure is really great. I'm wondering if there's any thought about helping those neighborhoods out, because if they can't keep the lawn, and I've got brown as the new green in front of my house that legitimizes somewhat when my lawn turns brown in the summer. But I think that aesthetically for our city, that this should be a consideration, that when they pull out the green, give you rebates for the lawns, is that there is an alternative for low and underserved neighborhoods to have something. They want their lawns to their yards to look nice as well. But if you are being fined for water use and that you can't afford to pay for the cost of water or the installation, I think that's a consideration I would like for you to consider and bring back to your people so that they can be aware of that as they're rebidding it.
I'll be glad to take that back.
Thank you.
Go ahead and proceed with the.
Yeah,
or-
one
Oh, it's
more.
okay, go ahead.
All right. So, one way we can help you protect your property from floodwaters is making sure you guys stock up on sandbags. As you may know, there are sandbag stations located in your district, and the ones that are in your district are the City of San Jose's main yard and the county east yard, which both addresses are in the packet. I've leaned on that packet all night. Sand, empty bags, and shovels are provided for residents who need sandbags to protect their homes and businesses from flooding. And remember, these sandbags are free. Staff, we have extra maps right here that will show you where all the sandbag locations are in the county. The district offers many ways for communities to get involved to protect and better their area. If you see any type of substance polluting a creek, pond, or reservoir, call the pollution hotline, and that's 888-510-5151. The Adopt a Creek program encourages residents of the Santa Clara County to take an active role in helping to preserve the health and beauty of their local creeks. If you're interested, contact Ricardo Barajas, and his number's in the packet. As you can tell, his number's not as important as the pollution hotline. The district provides grants to organizations and groups whose goals align with the district's mission. If you're interested in community grant programs, you can contact Sarah Young, and her number's in the packet as well. As the community knows well, homeless people sometimes set up encampments along our waterways. We actively partner with several City of San Jose departments, including Housing and Social Services, when we encounter these camps, so that we can care for both the people and the waterway during cleanups. In this way, we can help get the creek or river cleaned up, and with the city's partnership, also provide assistance to these individuals so they do not re-encamp. It is a sensitive issue and one which we are grateful for the city's leadership and continued partnership. If you notice an encampment in your area, please log the camp into our Access Valley Water System, which is at our website at valleywater.org. Excuse me, so that we can track it and coordinate with the city to get a response for it. So what can the residents of San Jose do to get through the drought and El Nino? Once I get this page turned, I'll show you. First and foremost, keep saving water. San Jose has done a great job, so keep up the good work by continuing to conserve water to meet the 30% goal. Sign up today for a free WaterWise house call, and one of those pamphlets are on the table. Please help us get the word out about all our many programs for the community by distributing the contact names and phone numbers we provided today to your neighborhoods using any channel you wish, including Nextdoor, Facebook, or whatever avenue of social media you see fit. Stock up now on sandbags before the rain comes. And if you ever have any questions or want information about what the Water District does, feel free to email me at kjackson@valleywater.org. With that, I thank you for your time and will answer any more questions.
What was that email address again?
kjackson@valleywater.org. Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. About 3 years ago, someone contacted me, I'm not sure how it was done. But, I live in a condominium, and they came to my condo, and they replaced all my, I think they're contracted PG&E. They contracted all my electrical, what do you call it, fixtures. And they also redid my water fixtures as well. And they gave me a free microwave and a free refrigerator. So I brought them to the neighborhood association meeting, and from there, they went to and did an entire apartment complex in my neighborhood. So you only do water, right?
Yes. Don't come out and tell you what.
You don't do, but they did both. They did both. You know.
That was through the PG&E energy program? Those were
I'm not sure.
programs that
I
ran
think they
through the
contract out to like private places.
Yeah, but the
And I
city-
guess state, it wasn't even through the city, but, you know, to get your energy bill down, but they also do water, replace water fixtures like shower heads and those kinds of things.
The city does have a website where you can go and look for some energy programs for the community.
Okay.
And everything, so, and some of those neighborhood type programs are still going on.
Okay.
So, I'm in the elder care business, and I'm interested in you guys have any programs for our elderly. I think about, for example, the whole Sandbags, you know, they're not gonna be able to do that. So, do you have anything available for elders? Because we're getting older every day, and there's gonna be more of us, and it's gonna be an issue.
You know, that's a good question. I don't have an answer for, but I can write that down and get your contact information and get back to you.
I'll pick it up and send it.
Well, thank you for being here.
Anyone else?
We have to actually move on, but thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay.